Good morning, my loves. It is a new week and we are heading towards a full moon in Pisces. Yay, we love that. It's the end of this cycle through the astrological signs. We'll be heading into a full moon in Aries next month. We also have a lunar eclipse that's going with this full moon in Pisces. And it's been interesting. I've been hearing some talk around like the fact that we have the eclipse in Pisces while the nodes, North Node and South Node, are in Aries and Libra, and how that's a little unusual. I've talked about, maybe not here, but on my blog, I've talked about the relationship between the nodes and the eclipses and how they are kind of symbolic of that circle of going through these patterns, going through these systems, evolving, coming back to ourselves and becoming whole, right? And so this is kind of like a little bit, I see it at least, as a little bit of like a preview of North Node moving into Pisces that'll be happening next year. We just have the North Node in Aries. It's finally working its way through those final last few degrees, and then it'll be transitioning over into Pisces. And when that happens, that'll be a nodal return for individuals who have a North Node in Pisces, but it'll also be that time of starting to activate. Okay, it's time for you to move towards those dreams. So we have a really interesting kind of switch that's going on because we'll have the North Node move into Pisces next year. We'll have Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. We have a little flip going on there about the work that we're supposed to be doing in order to evolve, relating to Pisces characteristics and things that are important to Pisces, like our dreams, our hopes, healing, like intense collective healing, and then our ancestors and the things that we picked up over time. And then we have that Aries energy of, okay, here's the action, here's the motion, here's the things we need to be doing. I always think it's really important to say, take a look at, okay, when I think about who I am, how I express myself, how I identify, like what makes me me, what does that look like? And do I feel like that's in alignment? North Node in Aries has been really pushing us to say, hey, are you doing the things that you need to be doing in order to truly feel and be and embody who you are? If there's some activities, some habits, some things you need to change in order to get more into alignment, hey, it's time to do that. Instead of compromising and allowing for other people's expectations to override what it is that we really feel like we should be doing. That's that South Node in Libra. With transitioning over to Pisces, we're going to have that energy of what are my dreams? What are my hopes? That like strong creativity, that, but countered with that keeping up with just like the everyday, doing a lot of cleansing, doing a lot of clearing, which would be that South Node in Virgo, which is beyond assessment. So look at the idea of the assessment versus the dream, versus the creativity, versus the ability to come up with new ideas and new ways of being and find peace and home within ourselves and within each other. So that's the juxtaposition that's going on with these energies. But let's talk about why this might feel uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to be in that space of both Pisces and Aries. Pisces and Aries are two very different signs. We have cardinal fire and then we have mutable water. And so Pisces is always kind of preparing us for moving into Aries season. It is that idea of this deep emotional space, this kind of ethereal location of water. I love thinking about Pisces as space, right? I think of Cancer as waters that are close to us, waters in our bodies, waters that are in the ground around us, those types of waters that are accessible to us, close to home, right? And then I think of Scorpio as waters that are deep within us, the waters that are our psyche, are the waters that we have to really drill down deep to get to. They're not on the surface. And then I think of Pisces as that reflection. The sky reflects. The water on our earth reflects the sky above us. You know, it reflects everything around us. And I think of Pisces as the space that's being reflected back to us. So that more higher level ethereal energy of creation and of healing. And so when we get to that Pisces energy, it can feel really overwhelming sometimes because of the fact that it can be so expansive. It can be so just like any possibility can come to pass. And so when we did our, I host full moon and new moon events. And when we did our full moon in Pisces, we focused on Newt. And the Egyptian goddess of the heavens, of space, of the stars and the sky, and who wraps herself around kind of the earth, which is Jeb, which is the masculine in this version, and energy of creation coming from this feminine force that covers us all. And so I think of Pisces kind of in that same light of this womb of total creation, and how expansive that can be, but how also scary that can be, because it's full possibility. There is this sense of anything could happen. I could create anything. I could be anything, but I could also be nothing. It's only possibility. There's no guarantee of something actually coming to pass. We have to fill in that material. We have to fill in the energy of what it is that we are creating. And that's how that process of Aries comes into place, of that bursting forth out of this womb of possibility and saying, okay, let me go and do something. Let me go and be someone. And so we start to work on this energy of being. I am. It is the energy of the cosmos. And in so many of the creation stories, there is darkness, there is the cosmos, and then there is the word, I am. So that's the shift from Pisces to Aries. And when we look at the nodes, we're going backwards. We're going from Aries, I am, back to the possibility, the womb of possibility. And those can be really uncomfortable energies to balance out at the same time. Luckily, though, I'm very familiar with this, so we'll talk about that next. So I have Aries North Node and I have a Pisces rising. I'm a Libra sun. So I've been feeling a lot of this energy, and a lot of it is very native to me because it's in my natal chart, my birth chart. For me, what I've found is that there is a delicate balance that has to happen. And so utilizing the lessons that we've learned, South Node and Libra, about how to balance out who we are and our needs with the collective, with everyone else around us, really comes into play here, especially because with that Pisces energy, there's going to be all these hopes and wishes and dreams and just like, oh, there's so much I can do. There's so much of who I can be. But we have to narrow down, and that is the importance of having that Virgo energy, that Virgo South Node. We have to take the lessons of how to differentiate, how to assess, and how to figure out what it is we actually want to focus on. Because the reality is that we're just not going to be able to be everything, especially we cannot be everything to everyone. That's Virgo and Libra in play here. It is important to take that time to sit down and figure out what that looks like in order to not lose yourself in like the wave of Pisces. Because if you were to give yourself over to just like the all and the all being and the expansiveness, you would lose yourself. It would go from being in that space of I am to just being we. And just all of just we and the possibility that exists in that. What I found in having those places myself is to give myself time and energy to do a little bit of both, to understand and to dream and just like feel out the possibilities, to weigh those things out on my scale, to use that Virgo energy to say, hey, okay, this actually works in alignment with my life. This doesn't work in alignment with my life. What is it that I want to actually do long term? Like going through the dream of, if I were to be this person, if I were to live out my life in this way, how would I feel? What could I experience? All these different things. And then to compare that to other dreams, other versions of myself, and to say, which one of these do I actually want to commit to? Which one of these do I actually want to see come forth? And then to say, all right, let me put those things into action. We've been spending a lot of time getting really clear on our dreams, getting really clear on who it is that we want to be and the life that we want to live. And sometimes that means a complete change. Sometimes it means small habits that we have to adjust. Sometimes it means that we just need to act. We need to get into that Aries energy and just take action on those things to make them come to pass. But we can get stuck if we live in the fantasy, if we live in the dream, if we're so, be delusional that we don't ever actually try to make these things happen. And a lot of times, the reason we're not taking action is because we're scared. We're scared of what's on the other side of making that decision. We're scared of what's on the other end of, we don't know what will actually happen from that. Because in your fantasy, in your dream, it can be amazing. You can always just come up with amazing outcomes. But we never know what other factors are in play. We're just looking at ourselves. We don't know what will happen on a grand scale. We don't know what will happen with our families. We don't know what will happen in the community around us. There are factors that we cannot control about what's going on in these situations. But it's helpful to understand that you don't need to try to control everything. You just need to have the courage, which has been a lot of this Leo energy that's coming up. Mars is going retrograde in Leo. Starting in Leo, it'll retrograde back through Cancer. Venus went retrograde in Leo in 2023, summer of 2023. Venus is about to go retrograde in 2025 in the sign of Aries, going back to Pisces. When I tell you that this energy of looking at the I am and going back to this large scale, my dreams, my healing on a collective level is such a prominent, important theme to address and to spend some time with. I'm being very there's a reason why this is coming up over and over and over again. But you can utilize that. And I really want to say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Have the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and understand where it's coming from. Feel the fear and provide support for yourself and others. Take breaks. Get some form of self-care. This is not about stopping and getting stuck and getting stagnant, because sometimes that's what happens. Pisces lives in the dream. It lives in the delusion. It never makes those things real. It's up here all the time. It's writing the fanfic. It's making the plans. You have 500 different planners and you write out all the plans. You write out all the systems. You write out all the things you're going to do, but you never take action on those things. The dreamer at some point has to wake up. And so this is the time for us to spend some time resting, spend some time recuperating, spend some time dreaming, but also knowing when it's time for us to wake up and live these things out in the real world. I'll make one more video on a quick note on some changes that I made to help me make my dreams into a reality.